This podcast is sponsored by Pogo, Property Operations on the Go. Facility managers know how challenging it can be to keep everything running smoothly. That's why Pogo was created, a white-labeled software solution designed by property managers for property managers. Pogo is your ultimate all-in-one platform for managing multiple assets. With Pogo, you communicate with your tenants, manage maintenance requests, control property access, manage bookable spaces, and much more. Plus, with advanced analytics, Pogo empowers you to optimize your operations anytime, anywhere. The best part? Pogo is completely customizable to fit your brand and business. Simplify your operations, enhance tenant satisfaction, and save money with Pogo. Ready to make the switch? Visit gopogo.us to schedule your demo today. Pogo, one system, multiple solutions at your fingertips. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're here with Jennifer Nakayama, President and CEO of Downtown OKC Incorporated. Plus, you got some other different entities that we'll kind of go through here. So,
sounds great.
Okay, Jennifer, I met you probably
about 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So you came from Hawaii.
Yes, I know.
Why would one move from Hawaii to Oklahoma City?
Well, maybe to take a slight step back further than that. So originally, my husband and I are from Southern California, born and raised, and then we went over to Hawaii about 15 years ago for a job opportunity. I'm a civil engineer by license and training, and then I got into the realm of strategic planning and operations and hospitality, and really guest service in the public space. And so when I went over to Hawaii for a job position...
That makes a lot of sense because you are very engaging and very communicative. And very supportive, and so that hospitality really it comes out. So
Thank you. Yeah, I think it is a unique blend to have somebody in this role for Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership that has the communication ability, but also a technical background to be able to implement things and projects and programs and things like that. So when we went over to Hawaii, again, about 15 years ago for the job, I was operations in the convention center. And so that gave me even more of a scene into hospitality, conventions, visitors industry, and all the like. And then I was tapped on the shoulder to be the president of the Waikiki Business Improvement District Association.
Waikiki?
In Waikiki, yes. The hubbub of all tourism.
Sounds really nice, Waikiki.
It was. Of course, Hawaii is glorious for the paradise that it is. And I was fortunate to have a job over there. And then our son was born over in Hawaii 7 years ago. And the pandemic and so many other things, like many people, it really made us take a step back and think about the big picture of quality of life. Not just for ourselves, for my husband and I, but for our son, for our dog.
Quality of life doesn't get much better than Waikiki.
Oh, you would think that. And as from a tourism perspective, it is. It is the most fantastic, and I will always have that deep resonation in my heart for that. And it's going to be my favorite travel destination until I die. But the living there is a little bit different. And especially when we were more than just the two of us, and it was a child in the mix, and we didn't have our parents or our aunts, uncles, cousins over there. The family unit, the extended family unit, became really apparent to us, again, pandemic and post-pandemic. And so we set our sights on relocating back to the mainland, the contiguous U.S. And it was really important when we looked at the other 49 states, quite honestly, in the pockets of places that had real energy and life that was going to be coming in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Because we wanted to better our situation, and why would you not think that you could do that from a standpoint of Hawaii, right? How can you better that? But we really truly felt that there was aspects of quality of life that we wanted to see in the next place we relocated to. And so when looking at a lot of different cities in the mix, and for my job position and for my career and our home life, and Oklahoma City came up. My predecessor was retiring, and so I was asked about this position. And the more that I looked into Oklahoma City, not just this organization, Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership, but Oklahoma City in general, and whether it was private business or government or nonprofit organizations, just everything seemed to be such a synergy of magic. And I don't use that term lightly, meaning that there is unfortunately things that are taking down some major cities that in the last 10 years, pandemic or otherwise, that have just seen really hard times. And that's economy, that's business, that's political, that's social. There's so many facets within public spaces now. And for Oklahoma City just has momentum that is different.
We've kind of trudged through some of that since COVID. We just kind of kept moving forward.
Right.
When you came here for the first time, your first day.
Yes, it snowed. And this is coming from Hawaii.
It snowed here in your first day?
Well, coming out for the interviews in 2023. Yes. I'm sorry, 2022. It snowed.
So when you're on your way here, I'm going to go interview for a job. I'm going to go to this city called in the middle of the United States, Oklahoma. It's going to snow. You had this perception. Did we live up to that perception, or were you underwhelmed?
It has. You do wonder whenever you go through a job, courtship and the honeymoon period, or how is it going to really be? And both on my professional career side as well as the home personal life, it really has not only kept with all of those expectations, but in many cases just exceeded what that is.
That's awesome.
The embracing of just the community here, whether again it's business community or our neighborhood home community, it's just it is so overwhelming of how authentic Oklahoma City truly is.
We're real here.
Yes. It's not a checkbox. And again, in other cities, there's a lot of checkboxing happening. And when you come here, and we noticed that, again, that very first day in November of 2022 is just that you weren't scared to look at somebody in the eye when you're passing by on the street. It was a genuine, hello, how are you? It wasn't just well, I'm just going to do the niceties because you're here, type of thing. It really was, it was great then, and it's still great now.
Okay, let's get into the fun part.
Sure.
Your job, what you do, because I think you have a fabulous job. And you're the ambassadors, you got an ambassador program. We still have that, right? The ambassador program?
They're called the Green Team here.
Green Team, but still it's an ambassador program. But how many districts do you oversee?
Yeah, so Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership is the umbrella 501c6 organization that then oversees the Downtown Business Improvement District. Okay. That Downtown Business Improvement District then divides into 6 different districts. So we have Automobile Alley, Bricktown, City Center, Deep Deuce, Midtown, and West Village.
Okay.
So all of those are different segments within the physical boundary of downtown.
So is there talk to maybe expand those boundaries?
It's always a possibility. Every 10 years, the Business Improvement District comes up for renewal. And through that renewal process, there's also the opportunity to look at what those boundaries should be. And so, for instance, when the last renewal came up in 2020, the areas to the south of the core of downtown, so Scissortail Park, was not open. It's hard to think back in that time frame, but it's true. And so the convention center was still just kind of getting up. And those areas, Omni included, all of those are technically outside of the Business Improvement District as the boundaries are drawn today. And so we're looking at that. We're looking at the growth up towards 13th Street. And so literally a boundary has to be drawn as a line on a map. And so those that are on the south side of 13th Street benefit from being within the bid and the public services that we provide. But anybody just on the other side, of the sidewalk, you can wave hi to them and are not part of the bid. And so we're looking at all of that, the boundary to the west, and looking at Classen and the new Classen TIF that the city and the Alliance for Economic Development have been brought on for. So all of this, trying to forecast into the future, because again, trying to not just think alone in a 2030 standpoint, but what does that mean? We're going to have that boundary for the next 10 years.
10 years, yeah. So two things.
Yeah.
The bid, there really is two things. There's a bid and a SID, right? So bid is a business improvement district. And a SID is a special improvement district,
Yes.
which is a subset of a bid, correct? You're funded through a tax on property.
We
And
are
ownership.
funded through an assessment.
Not a
It's
tax,
technically
okay,
not
an
a tax,
assessment, okay.
But
good.
yes,
I love that. I love that.
It is an assessment.
Okay.
And much like a building might do a temporary assessment, say to raise funds for an elevator renovation or something like that. So the city of Oklahoma City is authorized by the statute within the state of Oklahoma to collect an assessment on property owners within that designated boundary.
To improve that area.
To improve that area. All of the money goes back into the administration and the organization and the tangible assets within that boundary. And that's why it is so very important how that boundary is
So
drawn.
every year you have to go back out to a revote of all the people within those districts.
Of what the budget will be.
And the thing that amazes me, there is over 95% approval every time. Am I correct in saying that?
I don't know the exact.
But there's overwhelming approval, which validates what you're doing.
Yes, by law, we are required every renewal cycle to have a majority positive vote. And so being able to achieve that, I mean, much like these voter approval ratings for maps programs, for our latest GEO bond, I mean, that just shows that in itself shows just the inspiration that the public has to want to improve themselves. And just to be clear, that public vote happens every 10 years, but every year the Business Improvement District's advisory board votes on a budget. So they are all made up of property owners
Good.
that are actually paying that assessment. Property owners, tenants, etc. And so they are, in that sense, raising their hand and saying, yes, I agree that we need to pay a little bit more on top of our property taxes to gain this great benefit within the public space.
And I think our very own Megan Gelmers is on your bid board, right?
Yes, she is.
And
yes.
I've been on
And you-
on your DOKC board.
Correct.
I was chair for one time,
Yes,
many
yes, you were.
before your time, many years
I know,
ago. So
I know.
I
We'll
need
keep
to-
you forever.
I need to get more involved. So we have tremendous things happening here in Oklahoma City. All the development is just truly remarkable. How are you going to stay on top of that? And you and I have had conversations, our entertainment district. And you said, okay,
Right.
what are we going to do about creating bringing that into the fold and really managing that? How do you keep up with everything happening?
Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day, right? Minutes in the hour. Just making sure that we're having the conversations. So with a stakeholder like yourself, other major property owners, developers, other nonprofits, just what all is in the mix. And I think communication is the fundamental key between public government, so the city, the county, as well as DOKC or the Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership, and the bid being that bridge of communication to private landowners. And so making sure that we can really be cohesive in what's going to happen next. For instance, the city of Oklahoma City is leading the Downtown Development Strategic Master Plan over the next 12 months.
And I'm really excited for that.
Very
because
excited.
That's to ensure that we're connecting and building and moving together for the next 30 or 40 years.
Right,
I love that.
because you could work, any city could work in a silo or a planning commission, meaning that by project could come forward and propose whatever might be on a plot of land. But let's take a bigger step back and quite literally, a 30,000-foot level to look at the layout of downtown and to see where is the synergy, where are the gaps, where does there need to be left open space as opposed to where should we have infill, where does parking make sense for connectivity? You've used that word several times. That's a key to any success of downtown, and that's connectivity still by car, but also pedestrian and cyclists and our streetcar. How can that all work together to really feel like a thoughtful and true cohesive unit? of transportation and connectivity in downtown.
So you got to have a huge, wonderful staff. I know a lot of your staff, and you really have a great staff. So how many
Thank you.
people do you have? And
There's 14 of us.
14.
There's
Wow.
only 14.
Wow.
There's for 1.25 square miles of the what encompasses the boundary of downtown.
Wow.
Now the crew that is out on the street, the green team doing the cleaning and the patrolling and the maintenance and things like that, and landscaping. We have another probably about 20 people doing that.
To the green team, but that's outsourced, right?
Yes, that is with
Through
a
a
third-party
through a
contractor. Yes.
So we have a lot of districts. So you
Yes.
said you had 6 districts,
Right.
but there are some other districts, i.e. Innovation District.
love it.
And so let's talk a little bit about how maybe you connect with and work with those other districts to
Yes.
ensure a seamless movement between
Right.
districts.
Well, Jeff Seymour, I know you've had him on the podcast before too.
Jeff's
so,
awesome.
So Jeff and I definitely connect every once in a while. Formerly in his chamber role as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's important when I came into this role, whether it was the Innovation District or any of our other personality districts like the Plaza and Paseo and things like that, Asian District. It's also just about connecting, not being competitive, because this is not the game of well, let's compete for this visitor to come to here versus there. No, it's about the collective whole of let's just bring them to Oklahoma City. For whatever reason, one district may inspire them more than another, and that's fine. But let's then keep them here. Let's have things that are exciting and just inspiring them to want to be here. You know, whether they're a business traveler or for leisure, you just want to provide those things. And so, Innovation District is a wonderful piece that we can showcase that this is downtown Oklahoma City, but this is the historic aspects of downtown Oklahoma City. This is the evolution of the booms and the busts and everything. But then Innovation District is showing what is possible and what is new and what Oklahoma City can be a blend of those two. We are literally separated by I-235, which is a connectivity barrier. But, you know, that's something that, again, that downtown strategic master plan is going to look at. And how can that feel more connected?
I don't think people really realize how well oiled this city is. If you think about Maps 4, Maps 4 has 16 different projects. One of those projects are to build a facility in the Innovation District. But it was $75 million in Maps 4 that was also to improve connectivity, streets and stuff, and how they're going to connect that into downtown. I mean, it's everything that this city does think about
Very
all the
intentional.
other, very intentional doing together. I think that's very, very remarkable. I think that.
Yeah, very case in point in the Geo bond that has just gone through. That you know, that was not just about police stations and fire stations. It was not just about streets. It was about all aspects of public works, all aspects of utilities, libraries, definitely the emergency services. You know, and that again just shows to me, both personally and professionally, the weight of importance that the public and general residents of Oklahoma City just really grasp the concept of let's do something that is bigger than ourselves and that's more important than just what's literally outside our front door. That's all good and fine, because I do have to, you know, in your residential hat, you are concerned about what's literally outside your front door. Why wouldn't you be? But it's also about your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor's neighbor that you might not even know how that impacts. Right. And so taking these votes, whether it's for maps or the Geo bond or whatever might be coming down for us, you know, I think that's the beauty of what Oklahoma City stands for, is looking broader and being willing to step into something that is not just going to be self-serving, but is about the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's right. And that Geo bond is a good gauge of where this city is going. All of our previous Geo bonds have been less than $1 billion. We just took the step and did not $1 billion, not $2 billion, but $2.7 billion.
Right.
And it was over 76% vote over 11 different categories.
And that was on average. Some of them were even higher.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's amazing where we're going with this city.
Agreed.
So let's talk about some of the main events that you have.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to get into, you've shown me some stats. I thought it was really remarkable. How many cigarette butts that we pick up on an annual basis. I think those are some really key things. And what I don't think people really appreciate what our city is and how clean it is. And it just doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't happen because it's happened. So let's go to some of your events.
Sure.
So we're right now in the middle of...
Well, we're in Downtown in December, which is our holiday campaign of all things holiday. We do call it Downtown in December, a little misnomer because we're sitting in November as we tape this. And Downtown in December and all the holiday events in downtown actually go through February. So
you have the tree lighting tonight. Because you have green on.
I'm a little more blinged out than I normally am.
That's awesome.
The Oklahoma City Tree Lighting Festival takes place tonight in Bricktown. This is where the mayor gathers up on stage and flips the theatrical light switch.
Are you on stage with him?
Yes, ourselves and some other entertainment. The Thunder Drummers will be there. OG&E as the sponsor of the tree. Global Payments is the sponsor of the Tree Lighting Festival. And Devon Energy is of the whole Downtown in December campaign. So many corporate sponsors are really also interested in being part of that energy. And so, yes, Downtown in December is a lot of self-produced events by the Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership, but it's also about enlivening. I mean, our mission is truly to enliven all things downtown. So if there's an event that, for instance, we help promote the ballet and the Nutcracker. We tout out lyrics performances. If the Philharmonic has something, if there's something going on, Museum of Art, if there's even individual restaurants and things happening at the Skirvin and the First National and things like that. So it's all about that collective whole and getting the word out, again, that Oklahoma City has a lot to offer.
And you do Chocolate Decadence?
Yes. So Automobile Alley has a fundraiser called Chocolate Decadence, and that is its annual fundraising event. It's all things chocolate. Okay. This occurs in February, so please, if you would like, buy tickets, and it's a lovely, lovely evening event. We also have within the holiday campaign, we have the Saint Santa Run with SSM Health. Yeah, that's in Midtown. It's a very simple, family-friendly 5K. But you can be competitive if you want
to. But there are thousands of people that show up for that. I remember when it first came out, they were hoping for 300, but there's over 1,000 now.
Yes. And there's also a 1 mile fun run. There's also a free kids dash to just see the kiddos get to the end of the finish line. So there's we really try to gear towards openness and family friendly, diversity in that. We have so many other partners too, like the Myriad Gardens with their Devon ice rink, always a lovely, lovely outdoor tradition. So many things downtown in December are happening.
So we have 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
Of those days, how many days are programmed in a year that either you're part of or other people are part of, but they all kind of combine together?
It's a great question. I would say 365. That is the state that the city has come to now, and it's super
We have something going on every day, whether it's small or big.
Undoubtedly. And I think that's interesting because Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership and the bid is 30 years in the making. And so back several decades ago, it wasn't so much that way. And it was about our organization and some sister organizations lifting up different events and signature things. But now there is such, again, I keep on using the word energy and excitement from individual businesses and the hotels and the restaurants to do their own events. We want to be able to amplify that. And so there's definitely, you look on our calendar, we put out a weekly e-newsletter, or you can go to our website, downtownokc.com, and there's always a calendar of events of so many things happening.
Let's go to some of the stats.
Okay.
So you've got a stat of how many cigarette butts you've picked up in a year.
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I had forgotten to look it up right before this.
No, it was the lot.
It's thousands,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands. And when you think about it, a cigarette butt, by the time it gets down to that little tiny bit, it's pretty hard to see. And so maybe one alone, you can say maybe doesn't make an impact, but when you have thousands
100%.
of those,
100%.
they get a lot caught up in landscaping and bushes and things like that. So our green team is constantly, our green team and our landscaper and contractor is constantly cleaning.
Why don't we spend some money on just doing an advertising campaign? You weren't around, but we used to have an advertising campaign for the state of Oklahoma. Don't lay that trash on Oklahoma.
You sang it too? That's
I'm a bad singer. But don't throw that cigarette butt on our sidewalks or something like that. We need to come up with something, and then you won't have to pick it up, and then we can go spend our money someplace.
Beffort presents.
Yeah, right. That would definitely scare some people off. But so how many visitors visit downtown approximately within a
in 2024? We had about 24 million visitors.
24 million, and they're not all unique. Some of them are. Do you know how many unique visitors that
about
would be?
4 million unique visitors.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 24. So 8.
And so thinking about repeat visitors,
Yeah.
I mean, again, that would, whether or not that is all within a short time frame of like the same week or month, but it could be multiple trips over the year. It is really showing the growth of that every year. And looking at pre-pandemic and where we are now, also our residents have grown back to and exceeding actually where we were pre-pandemic. Our employees also, and that's something that I get asked often, the return to work kind of aspect. Right. And we have over 50,000 in the core of downtown, and we have about 12,000 residents. Yeah. And so it is showing that there is life. There's physical life and energy happening in downtown.
So it's really a live, work, and play environment. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want people to understand that you're not just about the events like downtown in December.
Yeah, right.
We
are, because that's a great aspect, but it's not.
It's not only that. It's not only that. I mean, this is the 24-hour, 365 engagement, both from a daytime during the week with all the employers and how you engage them, and then also how you do things on the weekend and the evenings and stuff.
Yeah, so we have crew here 365 days a year, and we are the operational arm of everything that there is downtown. Yeah. So yes, it is about events, because that's important to a good sector of residents and businesses, but we're also about promotion and marketing. We talked about that. But we're also about the green team. So very functional, operational cleanliness, safety, aspects of that are really important, whether you are a resident or a visitor or an employee. All of that kind of rolls into what could be important to you. And then it's just also business touch points and continuity. So we have a district management program, and within that, each of those districts that we talked about earlier have a special personality to them. And so rightly so, 4 of those 6 districts have a dedicated staff person that is making sure that they are connected with the businesses within that district and what the businesses need. If there's advocacy that is needed, say like a stop sign in a certain intersection, or in another one, it might be emphasis for increased police presence or things like that. And so that's a really special part of our organization, is making sure that the districts their individual personalities are conserved, but also that they roll up into the overall Downtown Oklahoma City partnership. So we have some connectivity and cohesiveness in all of downtown.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
What is your favorite district?
Oh, see, that's like asking the kid question, right? Who is your favorite kid? Which I only have one, so I can actually answer that one. No,
but you have 6 here.
But yes, we have 6 here. All are very special.
Okay, very good answer. Very good answer.
But truly so. I mean, that's the canned answer. But it is because of what I was just saying, the personalities. That is something that drew me, even as a potential relocation, to Oklahoma City, is that a lot of downtowns in, my equivalent position in, say, some of the other major cities, when you go into the downtown, it definitely feels like downtown, but it just feels kind of one note. And they may even carve out and call something a special district or this or that, but it doesn't really feel like that. Here, having the separate organizations, the 501c3s or C6s of Midtown and Bricktown and West Village and Automobile Alley, really enhances, I think, just the general overall downtown. We don't just feel like City Center, although City Center is very special to us all.
Thank you.
Yes, and always will be. But if you want some allegiance, says go definitely to Midtown all the time for restaurants or eating. But then you go over to Bricktown to catch a game at the ballpark. Or go down to the canal, and so I think it's just very, very important that we have that diversity and different options for different people, and don't become just the one note.
That's why you're such a good leader, because you. And by the way, I've been around you a lot, and I know that you genuinely believe that. That's just not a political statement.
Right.
So I know that about you. What are we missing here?
I think that this connectivity piece, hopefully that the master plan brings on, I think that we could do better at that. There is still a stigma of not taking the streetcar and public transportation. We all love our cars, and rightly so. But I know I am one of them. We're going to both raise our hand here. But I think that there's a visual piece too of downtown, and that's what working with the consultants for the city's master plan is how do you take down the visual barriers of, oh my gosh, that's such a long looking way, but you create the streetscape that softens the area, that takes your eyes away from all the concrete jungle of what you have to go, or the parking meters, or what have you, and just like, oh, that looks like a really pleasant walk, and before you know it, you're 8 blocks down, as opposed to, oh, I can't even go, that's 2 blocks, type of thing. I think that is going to be a great thing. Gap-wise, I think that also we need to make sure that while there's all this greatness that is coming upon us, we've mentioned probably the Olympics and new arena and new stadium and new districts and things like that, and you and I have talked about this. We need to be careful though too. We need to be thoughtful, and we cannot just be so excited that everything is new and shiny and everything is going to be great. There needs to be careful planning and thought put into that. And what I mean is city infrastructure. For one thing, utilities, and again, going back to streets and things like that. But also just the how much might be too much of one industry or another, or one market sector versus another. And we're hoping that, again, this downtown strategic master plan will help guide what that would be. Because otherwise, not everybody needs to build housing. Not everybody needs to build commercial. So I think that making sure that there's a balance, and how that balance looks physically on the map of downtown is going to be important.
What's your greatest daily challenge?
Daily challenge is getting enough sleep.
Getting enough.
Well, because in this way, in a really good way. I mean, thank you for the accolades of what you think about Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership and myself. But it is, and it can be a 24/7 job. Downtown does not sleep. I mean, literally, the lights might not be on in any given building, but it is a constant living, breathing aspect. And so I think that, on a personal note, that trying to turn things off, we have cell phones that we love and hate and follow us everywhere. But I think for me, again, taking it down to a personal note, getting back to always checking myself to know that, well, we moved here for a reason, and that was for a true quality of life for my son, and making sure that I am living up to my side, that I am professionally providing what I hope is the best quality of life for so many Oklahoma City folks, but I also have to remember I'm one of them. And so,
You are now.
yes, yeah, and will be for the foreseeable future. And so, making sure that I am present with my family, is definitely something that is a challenge to me.
That's cool.
And being able to turn on and off is something that even this far into my career, it's a learning process every day.
Okay, so I want to shift focus a little bit to retail.
Sure.
We still have a long way to go.
Yes.
From our retail, and I've talked to you about my desire to have Robinson Park be a central focus and spoke out from there, up and down, go east and west on Park Avenue and north and south on Robinson. How do we accomplish that to get more retail? You said we have 12,000 residents downtown. We have 50,000 people working downtown. That is enough to support more retail that we have today. How are we going to do that?
Yeah, I think that being able to entice the right type of brand management of the blend of that. I think that, again, trying to look at what the personalities of the different districts, certain storefronts are just not going to lend themselves to a brick town versus a midtown versus a city center, so making sure that even if your buildings happen to be in city center, if you come across a lead, but maybe it's going to be a little bit more well suited for something that Midtown is doing, to, again, trying to not always put our competition hats on district to district and say, well, for the betterment of the whole, let's put it over there. And then likewise, if Midtown Renaissance runs across something and no, it's a little too small in Midtown, they should automatically be able to jump on and say, hey, you city center folks, and so I think that is probably a missing piece that from a retail perspective, we could synergize group conversations more about that.
And I think the national has helped bridge some of those gaps, obviously, with the Lucchese store and some of the other things that they've done. So
yes, having Plenty Mercantile down there. I talked to folks down there, and they often say that the hotel guests don't even know that that's down there until they happen upon it. So if if you think about that with just the hotel guests, imagine just how many office, employees are around that don't even know that they could go down there so easily.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
Oh, yeah. Well, the canned answer is the Olympics.
The Olympics.
And we talked a little bit about bid renewal in 2030. That's a big thing on our radar because we want this bid and the good services to continue into the next decade. But I think for me and the organization specifically, we're going to really look at what it means to be Downtown Oklahoma City Partnership for those next 5 years. What it's different now, as you alluded to, it's not just about events. It's not just about marketing. It's not just about the green team either. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean automatically that it's going to mean more money and more programs or more projects. But, what is it that Downtown Oklahoma City needs in the public space? And so we're going to be looking at both BID and DOKC together, what that footprint should really mean for us. Yes, with the Olympics, because we do want to make sure that we are here and ready for the Olympics. It is just around the corner, it feels like. And so, but then what is after the Olympics? Oklahoma City and our greatness that we're talking about here today is here before the Olympics. And we'll be here after the Olympics. And so how do we see that going, though? Because everybody is going to be excited. Yeah. But how do we set ourselves up for after?
I'm glad you mentioned that because I know that through the chamber, one of the key initiatives working on in 2026 is really understanding what our brand is. What is Oklahoma City's brand? Like Austin make Austin weird, or Nashville and is the music, and Salt Lake City, the mountains. I mean, just everyone has. We don't have really. Our brand is
A
the Oklahoma way,
singular-
but I do think that the Thunder has tremendously helped create that awareness of Oklahoma City, and I think the Olympics is just going to be a game changer for us. But I think that we're getting closer to really creating that particular brand, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah,
Any thoughts on
I'm
what you
excited.
think our brand is?
I would think it's not something tangible, but I would go back to this authentic piece of community that we've talked about, or I've talked about several times, and that we are just genuine people. You are going to get an honest answer. You are going to get honest hospitality and true just happiness
Right.
in interacting
Right.
with people. And I think that I don't know how you capture that. It's not as easy as
It's
music or
Right.
art or
Right.
what have you. But I think that's the piece. I also, my position sits on the board of trustees for the National Memorial, and so within the Oklahoma Standard is so much talked about and emphasized. That is one of the key
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Also, teaching my son about just the kindness that needs to come from a place of good, not out of obligation.
Yeah, that's good. That's
And so I think that somewhere in that, I'm not sure what the brand, because I know branding, you need to be succinct. That's all not succinct.
good. Right.
but something in that really true, deep, authentic piece, I think,
Yeah.
is what's important.
Yeah. Been great conversation, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mark.
It's been great conversation. You and I, or you came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to maybe do a private-public partnership thesis at someplace?" Yeah, ULI. Where do we stand on that? I'd love to do that with you.
I know. So we submitted. I submitted on your behalf, on your approval.
Yep.
We submitted our proposal, and we should be hearing in the next couple of months if we're going to be slated for that. But yeah, I think that's
I can't imagine Oklahoma City not given what we've done and where we are today.
I hope. I think that it'll resonate differently, because having both that private public true representation, rather than it just being, a developer is up there talking, or there's a city representative up there talking. No, it's about the relationship of both, and that's
both of us
why,
together.
And that's
they
why
need to see this podcast, and then they'll vote yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming today.
welcome,
You're a great asset to our city, and I
Thank you.
truly mean that. And I hope that
means
you're
a lot.
going to make this your home forever.
Yes.
Because we need assets like you here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.